early on in life, I worked for the National Security Agency, and that's where I got my education on the technical side. In 1992, I realized that there was a major problem with our country and the way it was running. I realized there was a problem in the universities, and that set me on a major trail trying to uncover who was causing the problems in this country, who was ripping it apart, who was enslaving us financially, who was writing all the crazy laws. And I have spent 20 years since then getting to the bottom of the story. I spent 2 years inside the Jewish community and uncovered a whole bunch of garbage there. And I had made a whole bunch of discoveries, but I had gotten really lazy about publishing them. I was just thinking, well, I'll do it next year, I'll do it next year, I'll do it next year. And then Fukushima happened. So I began to look into the Fukushima issue. I got my hands on all the classified information. First of all, Japan never had a 9.0. And that's pretty well proven by the fact that no buildings collapsed in Sendai. If you look at all the tsunami videos, that tsunami is ripping through cities that are completely unscathed by an earthquake. And so what we have now with Fukushima and nuclear weapons being set off in the ocean there is a new form of terrorism.
Okay, and I agree with you. Actually, I have whistleblower testimony that told me that there was a nuke planted actually underneath Fukushima. That's what I was told.
I got the company that planted it. I got the reason they planted it. I got everything. It's all in the.
Okay, and what about Stuxnet? Because does Stuxnet and the I guess the Israelis factor into this? Isn't that right?
Yes. Israel wrote a virus called Stuxnet, and this virus was specifically designed to go in and attack industrial control systems. And what it does is it makes everything go haywire on the machinery while keeping all the readouts that the operators can see normal. And the machinery can go totally haywire. Stuxnet will go into a system and learn what normal looks like.
Yeah.
So it sits there in idle mode for months or however long they want it to learn this system. In the case of Fukushima, Stuxnet was planted in that system for about 4 months. It learned that when the operators pull the control rods out, that the temperatures are going to drop at this rate in this way, that when they put them in, it's going to rise in this way, the pressures are going to rise, the turbines are going to speed up, or not speed up, but put out X amount of current. So Stuxnet sat there and learned everything that the operators of that facility did over a 4-month period. The company that planted it was called Magna BSP. I mean, I have them nailed. I got a picture of the nuclear weapon that they planted in the facility. What they did was they sat there in Israel. They triggered this tsunami, and they sat there in Israel waiting for the tsunami to hit. The reactors did automatically scram right when the earthquake hit, because it's like these nuclear facilities are set up to be inherently safe. So if anything like seismically happens or anything electrically happens, the reactors automatically go into standby mode. And this happened at Fukushima. Well, what happened about 40 minutes after, when the tsunami hit, is they shut off the generators. They managed to get a remote internet link into the reactor room, and this is reported in the Jerusalem Post. This company, Magna BSP, which had its unrealistically huge nuke camera inside the Fukushima facility, also got an internet connection to that camera and to the guts of that facility that was in place all the way through the disaster. And they used, either Stuxnet ran in automatic mode until everything blew up, or they administered Stuxnet until everything blew up. You click on the Vanish Reactor link, and it'll pull up a diagram, or a little bit of a diagram of the guts of Fukushima and how it's put together. I've got an arrow pointing to where they had the nuclear weapon placed. If you scroll down to the bottom of this picture, you will see an actual photograph of the actual nuke they got into Fukushima. It's right down at the bottom of that picture. And
okay.
it was disguised as a stereoscopic camera. I have 2 diagrams of gun-type nuclear weapons up against this thing that they got in there. It's obviously a match.
Yeah, and I have gone over this information, I guess, long before I contacted you. So my question to you is, with this information in hand, what do you think is happening? In other words, you're documenting this quite well, and I think other people are too. I think I've come across it a few different places. So what do you think? In other words, it came out of basically an Israeli false flag, right?
Yes, this is a.
I don't want to leave this subject here, though, that we're dealing with in terms of the ramifications of Israel actually going in. Do you think that Israel was acting alone? It's much more likely to think that they're acting in unison.
It's sad to say that other countries most likely were involved. I got plenty of reports of the U.S. Navy being out there over the Japan Trench where the nukes went off.
Right.
If you scroll down on this Fukushima page, I've got the real epicenter for the earthquake, and I've got the epicenter that the media reported. The real epicenter for this earthquake was 60 miles inland. The epicenter the media reported was 24 miles off the closest peninsula in the Japan Trench. The entire thing was a fabrication.
So Jim, can you tell me what your title was, or designation of what you did?
Well, it was Electronic Warfare Intercept Strategic Signal Processing Storage Systems Repair. It was basically the highest level in there. We didn't really do any development of new systems, but we were the people where if we got a black box that no one knew about and no one was trained about, we were expected to figure out what it was, what it did, and then make it work. Yeah, we were that type of people. There were very, very few of us in the NSA. Anyway, that's all I'm going into.
Okay, I appreciate that. Would you consider?
And then, and then afterwards, it's important for people to know that after I got out, I went to work in industry, and the controllers and the automated systems, and I was very well acquainted with the type of control systems that were out at Fukushima. I knew what was possible. When I interviewed the reactor engineers that actually designed Fukushima, they were absolutely blown away by how much I knew without being told, because I was telling them details about their system. Well, how do you know that? How do you know that? How do you know that? Well, once you get qualified to a certain level, you pretty much know.
Whether or not you were capable of looking at also, it sounded like you said Electronic Warfare Division, so you were capable of understanding Stuxnet, is that correct? Because I'm told it's a pretty sophisticated virus.
Well, all you have to do is realize that it's a virus that can fake anything.
Okay. Now, before I go on, I want to ask you, are you still a patriot?
I love America very much. It is my home. I love the people there. But America has been taken over by a criminal. I've been run out of the country under threat of my life. I can't be there. It was my intention to stick around with that nation and be through the thick of it all. But after having attempts made on my life, there's just and being jailed twice over the Fukushima report and receiving numerous threats, I had to leave. I had no choice. I did not want to leave that country. I got hurt a lot there. A lot of people are getting hurt right now in America, but you got to realize, those of you who are suffering and have been hurt by the various systems in that country, that it's not the American system that's in place there. What we have in place in America is a system that a conquering nation, a conquering people have put in place to slam that nation into the ground and destroy it once and for all. That's what's happening there. And you have to realize you cannot really be angry with America. You have to be angry with the people who have usurped the power in that country and are putting it on a path to destruction.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. I appreciate that.
I love my country, and I'm very sad that it had to go this way, but I can't be there anymore. I just can't.
I hear you. Okay, Jim, what I want to do at this point...
Okay, for a reference into what has happened to me, I've got that on my site. That story is there. If you go to the front page and you type a link, my experience with the Jewish community, all that stuff is on that page. All the death threats, everything that's happened to me is on that page. Now,
okay, so how, I mean, just, can you stop right there? So Reactor 3 is blown away by what? By the nuke?
Yes, this one, building number 4, Reactor 4, when they got 2 nukes into this facility. Reactor 4, when the nuke went off, it wasn't under pressure because it was disassembled. But when the nuke went off on Reactor 3, it was at least 3,000 psi, maybe 5,000 psi. It was made to run at 1150 psi. Possible absent a controller that was infected with Israel's precious Stuxnet virus, which keeps all readouts normal both until and after everything is destroyed or blown away. So for months, with this reactor sitting here, obviously vanished in the picture, they were getting temperature readings, pressure readings, everything, normal readings in the control room from this reactor when it wasn't even there. Wow. This is proof of the virus. Right then and there, that's absolute proof that there is a virus in that system. In my opinion, there's nothing that's really happened hazardous in this country. Now, I'm in Mexico because I got chased out of the country over this Fukushima report. I had numerous attempts on my life. I got jailed twice. Okay, so I was here when this Mexico quake happened. And the very, very first link in the far right-hand column, it says Mexico quake proven man-made. Click that link. Obama's daughter was, at least from what was reported to me, was in the Chiapas district during this earthquake. Here we have Obama telling Israel that we're not going to war with Iran. You need to get on this site if you're not on it right now, and look at this link to the Mexico quake verified man-made. It is a smoking gun. What has happened in this drill that was planned ahead of time is exactly what happened in real life. Now, this says a lot of things. It says we have an earthquake machine that we have a way to trigger earthquakes now.
Okay, but why did they why the three-pronged attack? Earthquake,
as in 9/11, if they're going to have a nuclear facility explode, they've got to have a reason. If they're going to have the towers collapse, well, they've got to have the planes go into them. If they're going to have a nuke plant explode, they've got to have a tsunami to provide a plausible scenario.
Okay, but we understand that. Okay, the tsunami was like the cover, right?
Yes, the tsunami was the cover. The tsunami is the equivalent of the airplanes on 9/11. The NSA is full of highly moralistic people that are very, very good. They work under a system of compartmentalized clearance so that when they're doing something evil, they don't know it because they don't know what their work is being used for. They don't know where the orders came from, but they are very, very good, honest, intelligent people. I want this entire era of false flag terror in the name of the environment to be gone.